The night sky was clear above the lonely gas station where Lee June worked. Stars twinkled like tiny diamonds. June sat behind the counter, watching the empty road through the big windows. Not many people came to this part of Nevada. That was fine with June. After 10 years in the Marines, he liked the quiet. June checked his watch. 2 more hours until his shift ended. He grabbed his coffee cup and took a sip. The coffee was cold now, but he didn't mind. June was used to worse things during his time in the military. A bright flash of light outside made June jump to his feet. Something had crashed in the desert behind the gas station. It wasn't a car or a plane. The light was too strange, too blue. June grabbed his flashlight from under the counter. He wasn't supposed to leave the gas station unattended, but no one was around for miles. And what if someone needed help? The sand crunched under his boots as he walked toward where he had seen the light. After about 5 minutes, June found it. A small craft, not much bigger than a car, was half buried in the sand. It didn't look like any aircraft June had ever seen. The metal was smooth and had a purple shine to it. There were no windows, just a round door on one side. As June got closer, the door opened with a soft hiss. He pointed his flashlight inside. What he saw made him step back in shock. A creature was slumped against the wall inside the craft. It looked almost human, except its skin was blue and shimmered like it was covered in tiny scales. It had 4 arms and large almond-shaped eyes. The creature was hurt. A dark liquid that looked like oil was leaking from a cut on its head. June had seen many strange things during his time as a Marine, but nothing like this. His first thought was to call someone, the police, the military, anyone. But then the creature's eyes opened and locked with his. There was fear in those eyes, fear that June recognized from people he had helped in war zones. The creature reached out one of its hands. In it was a small round device. With shaking fingers, it pressed a button on the device. A soft blue light came from it, and then June heard a voice. It wasn't coming from the creature's mouth, but from the device. "Please, help. Danger follows." The voice was flat and robotic, but the message was clear. The creature needed help, and something dangerous was after it. June had always trusted his gut, and right now his gut was telling him this creature wasn't a threat. It needed help just like any human would in the same situation. "Can you walk?" June asked, pointing to the creature's legs. The creature pressed another button on the device. "Yes, small injury only, must hide." "They search," June nodded. "I live above the gas station. We need to move fast before someone else sees you or your ship." The creature understood. It stood up, a bit wobbly at first, but then steady. It was about June's height, maybe a little shorter. The creature followed June out of the craft. Then it pressed something on its wrist and the door of the craft closed. The entire ship seemed to shimmer and then fade into the sand, becoming almost invisible. "Cloaking," the translator device said. "Temporary. Need repair." June led the way back to the gas station. Luckily, there were still no customers. He took the creature up the back stairs to his small apartment. Once inside, June closed all the curtains. He pointed to a chair. "Sit. Let me look at that cut." The creature sat down. Up close in the light, June could see it was wearing some kind of suit made of a material he didn't recognize. The cut on its head wasn't deep, but it was still bleeding. June got his first aid kit from the bathroom. He wasn't sure if human medicine would work on an alien, but he had to try something. "I'm going to clean your wound," he said, showing the creature an antiseptic wipe. The creature nodded. "Thank you. My name is Doa." "I'm June," he replied, carefully cleaning the blue blood from Doa's head. The wound already seemed to be closing on its own, faster than a human's would. "Why are you running? Who's after you?" June asked as he worked. Doa's fingers moved quickly over the translation device. "Government enforcers. 3 of them. They say I am criminal." "This is false. Why would they say that if it's not true? My life partner Kai leads a group called Star Wanderers. Government calls us gang criminals. We are not. We protect those who cannot protect themselves." June finished cleaning the wound and stepped back. "So you're on the run because of who your partner is?" "Yes, they think I know where others hide." "I do not. We were separated in attack. I came to your planet to hide. It is not known to my people as place of contact yet." June was about to ask more questions when a sound outside made them both freeze. It was a low humming, like nothing June had ever heard before. He moved to the window and carefully looked out through a gap in the curtains. A large black vehicle hovered above the gas station parking lot. It didn't have wheels. It floated about a foot off the ground. As June watched, the vehicle settled onto the pavement. A door slid open and 3 figures stepped out. They were clearly of the same species as Doa, but taller and broader. They wore black armor that covered most of their bodies. Each carried what looked like a weapon attached to their hips. June turned to Doa, who had gone very still. "I think your enforcers are here." Fear flashed in Doa's large eyes. "They will kill me, or worse, use mind probe to find key." June's mind raced. He had sworn an oath to protect the innocent when he joined the Marines. Even though he was no longer in service, that oath still meant something to him. And his gut told him Doa was telling the truth. "Stay here," June said firmly. "Don't make a sound. I'll handle this." June went downstairs to the gas station just as the door chimed. The 3 alien enforcers ducked to enter through the human-sized door. Up close, they were even more intimidating. Their blue skin had darker markings and their eyes were cold. The one in front held up a device similar to Doa's translator. "Human, we search for dangerous criminal. Blue skin like ours, female. Seen this one?" June kept his face neutral, just as he had been trained to do during interrogations. "No, I haven't seen anyone like you before." "What did this criminal do?" The enforcer's eyes narrowed. "Not your concern. We detected craft landing nearby. We'll search your building." June moved to block the door that led to the stairs. "This is Earth territory. You have no jurisdiction here. Our governments don't even know aliens exist." The second enforcer stepped forward. This one was slightly smaller but had a more dangerous look in its eyes. "Move aside, human, or face consequences." June didn't budge. "I was a Marine. I've faced worse than you. You're not searching my home without proper cause." The first enforcer made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Brave but foolish. We have tracked criminal to this area. Our scanners show alien blood nearby." June thought quickly. "I cut myself earlier." He showed them a small cut on his arm he had gotten while fixing his truck the day before. "Your scanners probably picked that up." The third enforcer, who had been quiet until now, raised a device and pointed it at the cut. A green light scanned June's arm. The enforcer looked at the results and said something to the others in a language June couldn't understand. The first enforcer looked back at June. "Blood not match." "You lie." They started to move forward, reaching for their weapons. June knew he was outmatched. 3 armed aliens against 1 human wasn't good odds. But he had been in worse situations, and he had made his decision to protect Doa. Just as the first enforcer drew his weapon, the lights in the gas station flickered and went out. In the sudden darkness, June moved quickly. Years of combat training kicked in. He grabbed the first enforcer's arm, twisted it, and used the alien's own momentum to throw it into the second one. They crashed into a display of snack foods. The third enforcer fired its weapon. A bolt of energy hit the counter where June had been standing a second before. June had already rolled to the side. He came up behind the third enforcer and delivered a hard chop to what he hoped was a vulnerable spot on its neck. The alien staggered but didn't go down. June knew he couldn't win this fight for long, but he didn't need to win. He just needed to buy time for Doa to escape. Then, to June's surprise, Doa appeared at the top of the stairs. She held something in her hands. It looked like part of the ship's equipment. She pointed it at the enforcers and pressed a button. A wave of sound too high for June to hear made the enforcers drop to their knees, holding their heads. "Run," Doa shouted through her translator. "To my ship." June didn't hesitate. He ran past the stunned enforcers, following Doa out the back door of the gas station. Together they sprinted across the desert sand toward where her ship was hidden. Behind them, June could hear the enforcers recovering, starting to follow. As they reached the spot where the ship was hidden, Doa pressed the device on her wrist again. The ship became visible once more. The door opened. "Inside quickly," Doa said. They climbed in just as the enforcers came into view, weapons drawn. Doa's fingers flew over a control panel. The door closed and the ship hummed to life. "Can this thing fly?" June asked, looking at the damaged hull. "Short distance only," Doa replied. "Enough to hide elsewhere." The ship rose shakily from the sand. Outside, the enforcers fired their weapons. Energy bolts hit the hull, making the whole craft shake. "Hold on," Doa said as she pressed more buttons. The ship shot forward, low over the desert. Through a small screen showing the view behind them, June could see the enforcers returning to their vehicle, preparing to give chase. Doa's ship skimmed over the desert, staying low to avoid being seen. The damage to the engine made the small craft shake. June held onto his seat as Doa steered them toward a cluster of rocky hills. "Ship cannot go much farther," Doa said through her translator. Engine failing. June looked at the screen showing the view behind them. The Enforcer's black vehicle was following, gaining speed. Can we make it to those hills? We might find a place to hide there. Doa nodded. We'll try. The ship lurched forward, using its last bit of power. They reached the hills just as the engine made a terrible grinding noise. Doa guided the craft into a narrow gap between two large rocks. The ship settled onto the ground with a soft thud, and all the lights inside went out. Power gone, Doa said. Need time to fix. We don't have time, June said, pointing to the screen. The Enforcer's vehicle was still coming. We need to leave the ship and find somewhere better to hide. They quickly gathered what they could. Doa took her translator device, some tools, and a small box that seemed important to her. June had nothing but the clothes he wore and his phone, which had no signal out here in the desert. They slipped out of the ship. Doa pressed something on her wrist device again, and the ship faded from view, though not as completely as before. Partial cloak only. Low power, Doa explained. They climbed higher into the rocky hills, finding a small cave that offered a good view of the area below. From there, they could see the Enforcer's vehicle stop near where they had hidden the ship. They will find ship soon, Doa said. Cloaking weak. June watched as the three Enforcers got out of their vehicle and began to search the area. They had devices in their hands that beeped faster as they got closer to the hidden ship. Why are they so determined to catch you? June asked. What did your partner Kai do that made them so angry? Doa's large eyes looked sad. Kai discovered truth. High officials in government steal people from poor worlds. Use them for tests, experiments. Kai tried to stop this. Now we are hunted. June felt anger rise inside him. So you're not criminals. You're refugees. Yes, Star Wanderers protect weak ones. Government calls us gang to make others fear us. Below them, the Enforcers had found the ship. One of them touched something on a device, and Doa's craft became fully visible again. They began to search inside it. They will know we are close, Doa said, fear in her voice. Will find us soon, June thought hard. They couldn't run, there was nowhere to go in the desert. They couldn't fight. The Enforcers had weapons that June didn't understand. They needed help. Can you send a message to your people? To Kai? June asked. Doa shook her head. Communication device on ship, but needs repair and power. June looked at the ship below them. Then we need to get back to the ship. If we can fix the communication device, maybe we can call for help. Too dangerous, Doa protested. Enforcers there now. They won't stay with the ship forever, June said. They'll start searching the area. When they do, we can try to get back to the ship. They waited, watching as the Enforcers searched the ship. After about an hour, two of them left the ship and began to climb into the hills, following the tracks that June and Doa had left. The third Enforcer stayed with the ship. Now's our chance, June whispered. We need to get back to the ship. Can you fix the communication device quickly? Yes, if have tools and time, Doa replied. They carefully made their way down the other side of the hill, staying out of sight of the two Enforcers who were searching for them. They circled around to approach the ship from the opposite direction. The third Enforcer was inside the ship, doing something at the control panel. June picked up a rock and threw it far to the left. It clattered against some smaller rocks, making noise. The Enforcer came out of the ship, weapon drawn, looking in the direction of the noise. June threw another rock even further away. The Enforcer moved away from the ship, following the sounds. Quick, June whispered. Now's our chance. They ran to the ship and slipped inside. Doa immediately went to a panel in the wall and pulled it open. Inside was a mess of wires and strange devices that June didn't recognize. Can fix, Doa said. Need few minutes. I'll keep watch, June said, moving to the door to look outside. The Enforcer was still searching where June had thrown the rocks, but would return soon. And the other two Enforcers would eventually realize they had been tricked. Doa worked quickly, connecting wires and adjusting small parts inside the panel. June kept looking outside. The Enforcer was starting to come back toward the ship. Hurry, June urged. He's coming back. Almost done, Doa said, making one final adjustment. A small light on the device began to blink. Working now, sending emergency signal to Kai. Just then, the Enforcer appeared at the door of the ship. It saw them and raised its weapon. Do not move, it said through its own translator. June raised his hand slowly. We're not looking for trouble. Too late for that, human, the Enforcer said. It spoke into a device on its wrist, presumably calling the other two Enforcers. Criminal found. Return to ship. Doa stood behind June, still near the communication panel. She whispered, "Signal sent, but need more time for Kai to get message and respond." The enforcer pointed its weapon at them. "Come out of ship, now!" June and Doa had no choice but to obey. They stepped out of the ship into the desert sun. The other two enforcers were hurrying back down the hill. The first enforcer looked at June with what seemed like disgust. "Human interferes with official business. Punishment severe." "Your official business is kidnapping an innocent person," June said, keeping his voice steady despite his fear. "Where I come from, that's not law enforcement. That's being a criminal." The enforcer made a harsh sound that might have been laughter. "Human laws mean nothing here. Your kind not even recognized in galactic community. Too primitive." The other two enforcers arrived, surrounding June and Doa. One of them held a device that looked different from their weapons. It had a helmet attached to it. "Mind probe ready," this enforcer said. "We'll extract location of Kai and others." Doa shrank back in fear. "Please no. Mind probe kills most subjects." June stepped in front of Doa. "You'll have to go through me first." The lead enforcer reached out and grabbed June by the throat with one of its forearms. It lifted him off the ground easily. Easily arranged human. June couldn't breathe. He kicked and struggled, but the enforcer's grip was too strong. His vision started to go dark around the edges. Suddenly, there was a flash of light from Doa's direction. The enforcer dropped June, screeching in pain. June fell to the ground, gasping for air. He looked up to see Doa holding a small device that she must have taken from the ship. It emitted a beam of bright energy that had hit the enforcer's arm. The other two enforcers raised their weapons. June didn't think. He just reacted. He lunged forward and tackled the one with the mind probe device. They fell to the ground, the device skittering away across the sand. The third enforcer fired its weapon at Doa. She dodged, and the energy bolt hit the ship instead, leaving a scorch mark on the hull. Doa fired her device again, hitting this enforcer in the chest. It fell backwards, not moving. June wrestled with the enforcer he had tackled. The alien was stronger, but June had been trained in hand-to-hand combat. He managed to get his arm around the enforcer's neck in a chokehold. The alien struggled, but June held on tight until it stopped moving. The lead enforcer recovered from the hit to its arm, charged at Doa. June grabbed the fallen mind probe device and swung it like a club. It connected with the back of the enforcer's head with a sickening crack. The enforcer stumbled, then fell face first into the sand. June stood, breathing hard, looking at the three unconscious enforcers. "Are they dead?" Doa checked each one. "No, stunned only. This one," she pointed to the one hit by her energy device, "will wake soon. Others longer. Then we need to make sure they can't follow us when they wake up," June said. He looked at their black vehicle. "Can you disable their ship?" "Yes," Doa said. She went to the vehicle and opened a panel underneath it. After a few moments of working with some wires, she closed the panel. "Done. Will not fly for many hours." "Good," June said. "Now let's get back to your ship. Is the communication device still working?" They returned to Doa's ship. The light on the communication panel was still blinking. Doa checked it. Signal still sending. Now we wait for response. They sat in the ship, watching the unconscious enforcers outside. The sun was starting to set, casting long shadows across the desert. "How long will it take for Kai to get your message?" June asked. "Not know," Doa replied. "Depends where Kai is. Could be hours, could be days," June nodded. "We'll need to be ready if those enforcers wake up before help arrives." They gathered what weapons they could find in the ship. There wasn't much. The energy device Doa had used, some tools that could be used as weapons in a pinch. June also took one of the enforcers' weapons, figuring out how to hold it by watching how the aliens had carried them. As night fell, they took turns keeping watch. June took the first shift, sitting by the ship's door with the alien weapon across his lap. Doa curled up in the pilot's seat to rest. After a few hours, one of the enforcers began to stir. It was the one that had been hit by Doa's energy device. June raised the weapon, ready to fire if necessary. But the enforcer just sat up, looked around, then crawled to its companions. The night passed slowly. June and Doa took turns keeping watch. The three enforcers remained by their disabled vehicle, also taking turns to sleep while at least one always stayed awake, watching the ship. As the sky began to lighten with the first hint of dawn, June was on watch. He had been thinking about everything Doa had told him. About Kai, About the Star Wanderers. About the corrupt government officials who were stealing people from poor planets. Tell me more about the Star Wanderers, June said. How did they start? Doa sat up from where she had been resting. Long story. Sure you want to hear now? June nodded. We have time until morning, and I want to understand what I've gotten involved in. Doa adjusted her translator. Star Wanderers began as official peacekeepers. 20 cycles ago, what you call years. Group of best pilots, fighters, diplomats. Kai was young then, just joined. So you were like a police force? June asked. Yes, like police, but for space between worlds. Many planets, many species in our part of galaxy. Need someone to keep peace, stop pirates, help lost ships. And what changed? Doa's large eyes looked sad. 10 cycles ago, Kai discovered something. High officials in government taking people from poor planets. Planets not part of official galactic community. Taking them for tests. What kind of test? June asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Bad tests. Medical. Try to find way to make soldiers stronger, live longer. Many die. Doa looked down at her hands. Kai found proof. Took to government council. But council part of plan. They tried to arrest Kai, said Kai was traitor. So Ki ran. Yes, with others who believed truth. Became Star Wanderers. Not official anymore. Now we try to protect weak planets, warn people about government tests. June looked out at the enforcers. And these enforcers work for the corrupt officials? Yes, a special group. Not regular police. Only answer to High Council. They hunt Star Wanderers. Kill many of our friends. June felt a chill. He was up against something much bigger than he had realized. Not just 3 alien cops, but an entire corrupt government system. How did you end up on Earth? He asked. Was with Kai on mission to warn planet at edge of known space. Enforcers found us. Big fight. Got separated from Kai. My ship damaged. Needed place to hide. Saw your planet on long-range scan. Not known to my people officially. Good place to hide until could fix ship and send message. June nodded. And now Kai is coming here. With others? Yes, Kai said, bringing many ships. Friends who help Star Wanderers. Coming to rescue. But that means Earth will be discovered by your people, June said. We're not ready for that kind of contact. Doa looked at him with her large alien eyes. Maybe ready more than you think. You helped me. Did not fear me. Did not call your authorities. Showed, what word? Courage. June wasn't so sure about that. He was just one person. How would the rest of humanity react to the arrival of alien ships? Probably with fear and weapons. When exactly will they get here? June asked. Doa looked at a small device on her wrist. Kai said by full light. What you call morning? Few hours from now. As the sky continued to lighten, June could see the enforcers more clearly. They were talking among themselves, occasionally looking at the ship. They seem to be planning something. I don't like the way they're acting, June said. I think they're going to try something before your friends arrive. Just as he said this, one of the enforcers stood up and started walking toward the ship. It had no weapon in its hands, but June didn't trust it. Stop there, June called out, raising the alien weapon he had taken. The enforcer stopped. It held up all 4 of its hands to show they were empty. Wish to talk only, it said through its translator. No fight, June looked at Doa. Should we listen? Doa looked uncertain. Could be trick. I'll keep the weapon on it, June said. But let's hear what it has to say. June moved to the door of the ship but didn't open it. Through the clear material of the door he could see and hear the enforcer. What do you want to talk about? June asked. You not understand situation, the enforcer said. Doa and Mate Ki are terrorists. They attack peaceful ships. Steal technology. Kill innocent people. That's not what Doa told me, June said. Of course not. Criminals always lie. The enforcer took another step forward. If you help us take Doa, we leave your planet in peace. Never return. If you continue to help criminal, more of our kind will come. Your planet will be marked for monitoring. Maybe worse. Is that a threat? June asked, his finger tightening on the trigger of the weapon. Warning only. Choice is yours, human. One criminal or peace for your world. June looked at Doa. Her eyes were wide with fear. Don't believe, she whispered. Enforcers always lie. June turned back to the enforcer. If what you say is true, then why did you try to use that mind probe on her? Doa said it kills most subjects. That doesn't sound like proper law enforcement to me. The enforcer made a dismissive gesture with one of its hands. Mind probe safe for our kind. Only dangerous for weaker species. We need information Doa has about terrorist hideouts. And what would happen to Doa after you got that information? The enforcer hesitated. Justice would be served. You mean she would be executed? June said. It wasn't a question. The enforcer didn't deny it. Criminal deserves criminal's fate. June had heard enough. During his time in the Marines, he had seen corrupt officials use the same kind of language to justify terrible acts. Always talking about justice and peace while doing the exact opposite. I don't believe you, June said firmly. I believe Doa. Now back away from the ship or I'll show you what happens to people who threaten my planet. The enforcer's demeanor changed instantly. Its posture became aggressive. Foolish human. You doom your kind. It turned and walked back to the others. The three enforcers huddled together talking. Doa put her hand on June's arm. Thank you for believing me. I've met people like them before, June said. They say they're the good guys, but their actions tell a different story. They watched as the enforcers continued to talk. Suddenly, all three stood up and began walking toward the ship, spreading out to approach from different angles. They're coming, June said, raising his weapon. Get ready. The enforcers moved quickly, each drawing a weapon. They fired at the ship. Energy bolts hit the hull, making the whole craft shake. Ship shields very low, Doa said, pressing buttons on the control panel. Cannot take many hits. June aimed the weapon he held and fired at the nearest enforcer. A bolt of energy shot out, hitting the ground near the alien's feet. June adjusted his aim and fired again. This time, the bolt hit the enforcer in the leg. It fell to the ground but continued to fire at the ship. The other two enforcers were getting closer, using rocks as cover as they advanced. Their shots were becoming more accurate, hitting the same spots on the ship repeatedly. They're trying to breach the hull, Doa said. June fired again and again, keeping the enforcers pinned down, but he was outnumbered. For every shot he fired, 3 came back at the ship. A loud crack sounded as one of the energy bolts finally broke through the hull, leaving a small hole. Air hissed out of the ship. Hull breach, Doa cried. Losing atmosphere. June looked around desperately. They were trapped in the ship, but if they left it, they would be easy targets for the enforcers. Just when it seemed hopeless, a bright light appeared in the sky above them. It was too bright to be the rising sun, and it was moving, getting closer. Doa saw it too. Her eyes widened with hope. Ship coming. From space. The enforcers also noticed the light. They stopped firing and looked up. Their body language changed from aggressive to fearful. The light grew larger and brighter until June could see that it was indeed a ship. Much larger than Doa's small craft. It descended from the sky with a low hum that June could feel in his chest. The enforcers began to retreat toward their own disabled vehicle. One of them was speaking rapidly into a wrist device, probably calling for help. The new ship hovered above the desert, casting a shadow over the area. It was at least 5 times the size of Doa's craft, with sleek lines and what looked like weapon ports along its sides. A beam of blue light shot from the large ship, hitting the enforcer's vehicle. There was no explosion, no fire, but the black vehicle seemed to sag as if all the energy had been drained from it. Disabling pulse, Doa explained, makes machines stop working. The enforcers were now truly stranded. They huddled by their useless vehicle, weapons still in hand but no longer firing. The large ship moved to hover directly above Doa's damaged craft. Another beam of light, this one white, extended from the ship to the ground near them. It wasn't a weapon, it looked more like a pathway. Transport beam, Doa said, her voice excited. We can go up to ship. Safe now, June hesitated. Is that Kai's ship? Yes, Kai came for us. Doa was already moving toward the ship's door. Come, you're not safe here now. Enforcers will blame you for helping me. June knew she was right. The enforcers had seen his face. They knew he had helped an alien they considered a criminal, and they had threatened his entire planet because of it. Okay, June said. Let's go. They opened the door of the damaged ship and stepped out into the desert. The enforcers raised their weapons but didn't fire. The large ship above them was too intimidating. June and Doa walked to the white beam of light. Doa stepped into it first. To June's amazement, she began to float upward, rising toward the ship above. Kai's ship moved quickly away from Earth, accelerating at a speed that should have crushed June with the force. But somehow he felt nothing. No pressure, no discomfort. It was as if the ship was standing still, though the screen showed Earth rapidly shrinking behind them. How are we moving so fast without feeling it? June asked, watching the blue planet grow smaller. Gravity control, Kai explained. Inside ship, gravity stays normal, no matter how fast ship moves or turns. Another alien entered the room, this one with red skin and 2 sets of eyes. It spoke rapidly to Kai in their language. Key turned to June. Enforcer ship pursuing us. But no worry. We much faster. June looked at the screens again. Earth was now just a small blue dot. They had already passed the moon. Where are we going? First to meet others, Kai said. Many Star Wanderer ships wait at safe distance. Then to base. You have a base? Like a planet? June was trying to grasp the scale of this group he had joined. Not planet. Space station. Hidden in dust cloud, safe from government sensors. As they talked, the ship continued to accelerate. The stars on the screens began to blur. Then suddenly the view changed completely. The stars stretched into lines of light, and then they were surrounded by a swirling tunnel of blue and white light. What's happening? June asked, alarmed. Faster than light travel, Doa explained. What you might call hyperspace? From your stories. June stared at the screen. They were traveling faster than light. It was something from science fiction, yet here he was experiencing it. How long will we be in hyperspace? June asked. Short time, Kai said. Meeting point not far. Few minutes only. True to Key's word, after about 5 minutes, the swirling tunnel disappeared. The stars returned to normal points of light. And in front of them was a sight that made June's breath catch. Ships. Dozens of them. Of all shapes and sizes. Some sleek like Kai's ship, others bulky and practical looking. They formed a loose formation against the blackness of space. Star Wanderer fleet, Kai said with pride. Not all ships. Many more spread across galaxy. These just closest one I called. There are so many, June said in awe. I thought you were just a small group of rebels. Key made a sound that translated as a laugh. Started small. 10 cycles ago, now thousands of members, from many worlds. As Key's ship approached the fleet, June saw the other ships move to make room. Kai's ship took a position at the center of the formation. Now what? June asked. Kai's expression became serious. Now we talk. With all ship leaders. Must decide what to do about Earth. What do you mean? June felt a surge of fear. You said Earth wasn't in danger. Not in immediate danger, Kai corrected. But now known to us. And soon to enforcers. Need to decide how to protect. Key led June and Doa through the ship to a large room. The walls were completely transparent, giving a view of space and the fleet surrounding them. In the center of the room was a large round table with chairs of various shapes to accommodate different alien body types. Meeting room, Kai explained. Other leaders will join by projection. As if on cue, the space above the table lit up. 3-dimensional images of aliens appeared around the table. Some looked like Key and Doa with blue skin and 4 arms. Others were completely different. Some with tentacles, some with wings. Some that seemed to be made of light or gas rather than solid matter. Key spoke to the gathering in a language that sounded musical to June's ears. Occasionally, Kai would gesture toward June, and all the alien eyes, or what June assumed were eyes, would turn to look at him. After Kai finished speaking, the other aliens began to talk. Some seemed excited, others concerned. The debate went on for what felt like hours to June, though he couldn't understand a word of it. Finally, one of the aliens, a tall, thin being with skin that changed colors as it spoke, seemed to ask a direct question to June. Everyone fell silent, waiting. Key turned to June. Talk asks if you will speak for Earth. Tell us about your people. Are they ready for contact with other worlds? June felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was being asked to represent all of humanity to these aliens. I'm just one person. I can't speak for all humans. Understand, Kai said, but your perspective valuable. You first human to meet us peacefully, to help one of us. What you think of your kind? June thought carefully. What could he say about humanity? About Earth's readiness to join a galactic community? Humans are complicated, June began slowly. We're capable of great kindness and terrible cruelty. We fight wars against each other over resources, religion, politics. But we also work together to cure diseases, explore our solar system, create art and music. The aliens listened intently. None interrupted. Are we ready for contact with other worlds? June continued. I don't know. Some would welcome it. Others would fear it. Our governments might try to weaponize any technology you shared. But ordinary people, I think many would be like me. Curious, willing to learn. wanting to be friends rather than enemies. Key translated June's words. The alien leaders listened, their expressions impossible for June to read. Then the debate started again, more heated this time. After another hour, the discussion seemed to reach a conclusion. The alien projections nodded or made equivalent gestures, and then disappeared one by one until only Kai, Doa, and June remained in the room. What did they decide? June asked anxiously. Kai looked at June with those large alien eyes. Decision made. We'll send ships to Earth, make official contact. June felt a mixture of excitement and fear. When? Now, Kai said. Fleet already changing course. Earth in danger. Must act quickly. What danger? June asked. You said no immediate danger, Kai interrupted. But situation changed. During meeting, got message from Spy and Enforcer Command. They send report to government about Earth. About human helping Doa. Government now interested in your world. And that's bad? Very bad, Doa said. If government reaches Earth first, we'll pretend to be friendly. Offer technology, knowledge. But really, we'll study humans. Maybe take some for tests. Like other worlds before, June felt sick. He had unintentionally put his entire planet at risk just by helping Doa. So what will you do? Go to Earth, Kai said. Show ourselves first. Warn your leaders about government. Offer protection. But why would Earth's governments believe you? You're strangers. They'll be scared, Kai nodded. Yes, will be difficult. That why need you, June, you will help explain. Be bridge between your kind and ours. The responsibility felt even heavier now. June wasn't a diplomat. He wasn't a leader. He was just a former Marine who had been working at a gas station until yesterday. I'll do my best, June said. But I don't know if they'll listen to me. We'll help you prepare, Kai assured him. Teach you about us. About government. Give you proof to show your leaders. The room's transparent wall showed the fleet changing formation. The ships moved with coordinated precision, arranging themselves into a new pattern. Then as one, they all entered the blue-white tunnel of faster-than-light travel. How long until we reach Earth? June asked. Few hours, Kai replied. Time to prepare you. For the next several hours, Key and Doa showed June recordings, documents, and images. Evidence of the government's crimes against less developed worlds. Proof of the Star Wanderers' efforts to protect and warn vulnerable species. Information about the wider galactic community that Earth was about to join. Ready or not. June learned that there were thousands of inhabited worlds in this part of the galaxy alone. Some were part of the galactic government, others were independent, and many were like Earth, just developing space travel, unaware of the wider community around them. He learned that the government, while officially democratic, was controlled by a small group of species who had been the first to develop faster-than-light travel. They saw themselves as superior to younger species and often exploited them. The Star Wanderers had begun as an official peacekeeping force but had broken away when they discovered the government's secret programs. They now operated across the galaxy, trying to protect vulnerable worlds and gather allies for an eventual confrontation with the corrupt government. As they talked, June felt the enormity of what he had stumbled into. This wasn't just about him or even just about Earth. This was a struggle that spanned the galaxy and had been going on for years. Why did you break away? June asked Kai. Why not try to change the government from within? Kai's expression darkened. Tried for years. Brought evidence to council, to public, but government too powerful. Controls media, military. Those who spoke out disappeared. Some killed. Others changed. Minds wiped, reprogrammed to obey. So you became rebels. Had no choice. Could not support system that hurts innocent worlds. That treats living beings as test subjects. June thought about Earth's own history, about resistance movements against tyrannical governments, about the oath he had taken as a Marine to defend the innocent and uphold justice. I understand, June said, and I'll help you. I'll tell Earth's leaders the truth, whether they believe me or not. Kai placed one of his 4 hands on June's shoulder. Brave human. Star Wanderers, lucky to have you join us. Just then the ship shuddered slightly. The blue-white tunnel outside the transparent walls disappeared, replaced by the familiar stars of space. And there, growing larger on the screens, was Earth. The fleet had arrived, positioned just beyond the moon's orbit. The 6 hours after June's message were the longest of his life. On the screens in Key's ship, he could see the chaos unfolding on Earth. News channels showed crowds gathering in cities across the globe. Military vehicles moved into positions around major government buildings. Religious groups held impromptu services in streets and parks. Some people celebrated, others protested. Many just stood looking up at the sky, at the tiny points of light that were the Star Wanderer ships, visible even in daylight. Your people react as expected, Kai said, watching the screens with June. Fear, wonder, confusion, all natural. Will they listen? June asked. Or will they try to fight? Kai's expression was hard to read. Some will listen. Some will fight. It was same on all worlds when first contact happened. A message came through to the ship. One of Key's crew members brought it to them. Kai read it and nodded. Your leaders agree to meet, Kai told June, at Area 51 as suggested, but with conditions. Only 3 of us may land. Must be unarmed. 3? You, me, and Doa? Kai nodded. Yes, good group. You to translate meaning, not just words. Doa because your people already saw her. Me as leader. When do we leave? Soon. First must prepare. Kai led June to another part of the ship. It was a small room with what looked like lockers along one wall. Kai opened one and took out a device that resembled a thin collar. Communication enhancer. Will help you understand all Earth languages. Not just translate, but give meaning behind words. June took the device and placed it around his neck. It was surprisingly light and comfortable. And this, Kai continued, taking a small round object from another locker. Recording device. Will capture everything seen and heard during meeting. For protection. You think we'll need protection? June asked, taking the device and placing it in his pocket. Hope not. But wise to be careful. Some of your leaders may not want truth known, may try to hide what is said. They returned to the main area of the ship. Toa was waiting for them, wearing a similar collar to the one Kai had given June. Time to go, Kai said. Small shuttle ready. The 3 of them walked through the ship to a docking bay. Inside was a smaller craft, sleek and silver, with no visible engines or windows. They entered through a door that opened silently at their approach. The inside of the shuttle was simple. 3 seats facing forward, a control panel with lights and symbols June didn't understand, and transparent walls that gave a 360-degree view of their surroundings. Kai sat at the controls. June and Doa took the other seats. There were no seat belts or restraints, but as the shuttle began to move, June felt a gentle pressure holding him in place. Gravity field, Doa explained, seeing his confusion. Keeps us safe during flight. The shuttle left the main ship and began its descent toward Earth. The blue planet grew larger in their view, the curve of the horizon flattening as they got closer. Ever think you would return to Earth this way? Doa asked June. June shook his head. Never. Just yesterday I thought aliens were just stories. They entered Earth's atmosphere. There was no shaking, no turbulence, no sign of the friction and heat that human spacecraft had to endure during re-entry. The shuttle moved smoothly as if the air offered no resistance. Below them, the landscape of North America appeared. The Rocky Mountains, the deserts of Nevada, and then a complex of buildings and runways in the middle of nowhere. Area 51, many ships on ground, Kai observed. Military vehicles. Many humans, June could see them too. The base was filled with activity. Jets were lined up on runways. Tanks and armored vehicles formed a perimeter around a large open area in the center of the base. Hundreds, maybe thousands of people moved about below. They're prepared for war, June said grimly. Expected, Kai replied. But we show we are peaceful. He pressed some controls and the shuttle slowed its descent, coming to hover directly above the open area. June could see people pointing up at them. Soldiers raising weapons, officers barking orders. Tension was thick in the air, visible even from their height. Ready? Kai asked. June took a deep breath. Ready. The shuttle descended the last 100 feet slowly, giving everyone below plenty of time to see it coming. It touched down gently in the center of the open area, raising no dust despite the desert location. For a long moment, nothing happened. The shuttle sat there gleaming in the sun. The human military forces maintained their distance, weapons ready but not firing. Now we exit, Kai said. Show empty hands. Move slowly. The door of the shuttle opened with the same silent smoothness as before. Kai went first, all 4 of his hands raised to show they were empty. Doa followed, then June. As soon as June appeared, there was a stir among the human forces. He could hear surprised voices. A human face emerging from an alien craft was clearly not what they had expected. A group of people began to approach from the military line. They walked slowly, cautiously. June recognized several of them from television. The President of the United States, the Secretary General of the United Nations, several high-ranking military officers. When they were about 10 feet away, they stopped. The President stepped forward slightly. "I am the President of the United States," he said in a loud, clear voice. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you." Kai bowed slightly. "Thank you for meeting us. I am Kai, leader of Star Wanderers. This is Doa, my life partner. And this," he gestured to June. "You know as Lee June." The President looked at June with a mixture of surprise and suspicion. "Mr. Lee, your message was unexpected. Are you here of your own free will?" "Yes, Mr. President," June said firmly. "Everything I said in my message is true. The Star Wanderers are here to help us, to warn us." The Secretary General spoke next. "Warn us about what exactly? Your message mentioned a corrupt government. Can you explain?" Kai nodded. "There is Galactic government. Controls many worlds, appears peaceful but hides dark truth. They experiment on developing worlds like Earth. Take people for tests. We have proof." He reached slowly into a pocket on his suit and removed a small device, similar to the recording device he had given June. "This contains evidence. Images, documents, testimonies from victims." One of the military officers spoke sharply. "And we're supposed to just believe this? For all we know, you're the threat. You show up with 200 warships and expect us to welcome you?" "Not warships," Doa said. "Protection ships. If wanted to harm Earth, would have done already." "No need for meeting warnings." June stepped forward. "Sir, I've seen their evidence. It's compelling. The Galactic government has been experimenting on species from worlds that haven't yet developed faster than light travel. The Star Wanderers broke away when they discovered this. They've been trying to warn and protect planets like ours ever since." The President looked thoughtful. "Let's say we believe you. What do you propose? What do you want from Earth?" "Alliance," Kai said simply. "We offer protection, knowledge, technology. Ask in return only that Earth joins fight against corruption. Not now, you're not ready for war in space. But someday, when stronger, join us as equals." The Secretary General looked skeptical. "And if we decline this alliance?" "What then?" "Then we still warn you. Still offer basic protection. We not force anyone to join. But alone, Earth vulnerable when government ships come. And they will come. How do we know they're coming?" the President asked. Key looked at June, who explained. "When I helped Doa hide from the enforcers, their police, I became the first human to officially interact with their species. The enforcers reported this to their government. Now the government knows about Earth and they're interested. That's why the Star Wanderers came so quickly, with so many ships, to establish a presence here before the government could." One of the military officers, a general with many medals, spoke up. "So you're saying we're already involved in your galactic conflict, whether we want to be or not?" "Yes," Kai said. "Regrettable, but true. Once enforcers found Earth, no going back to before. Now must decide how to move forward, as allies or alone." The President conferred quietly with the others for a moment. Then he turned back to Kai. "We'll need time to discuss this, to review your evidence, to consult with other world leaders." "Understand," Kai said, "but not much time. Government ships vast. Could arrive within days. What do you suggest?" the Secretary General asked. "Leave small group of our ships in orbit. As watchers, protectors. Rest of fleet return when Earth decides." The military officers looked uncomfortable with this suggestion, but the President nodded slowly. "That seems reasonable. How many ships would stay?" 20, Kai said. "Enough to watch, to warn. Not enough to threaten." "And where will you be during this time?" the President asked. Kai gestured to June. "With him, learning about Earth, teaching him about galaxy, building bridge between our peoples." The general didn't like this. "You want to just wander around our planet? Unmonitored?" June spoke up. "Sir, I'll take full responsibility for them. They saved my life. I trust them. And I'm still a citizen of this country, still bound by my oath as a Marine to protect it. I wouldn't be standing here if I believed they meant any harm." The President looked at June for a long moment, then nodded. "Very well, Mr. Lee, you will be our liaison with the Star Wanderers. You will be given resources and a security detail, both for your protection and to assist you." June understood what wasn't being said. The security detail would be watching Key and Doa as much as protecting them. but it was a start.